Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode in our TNA series. I, of course, am Zero Daredevil, bringing you all of the live action, and we are officially at the first Impact of 2015. Of course, the last time, not counting the 2014 recap episode, the last time we saw you in this series, it was Final Resolution 2014, where we had crazy stuff happen. This is basically the official Fallout show of that, even though we're like 1.5 weeks after that initial pay-per-view. This is initially the Fallout. We're going to have to see what happens tonight. Of course, we already know that it will be Jeff Hardy and Austin Aries going at it tonight. We potentially will see Kurt Angle and EC3 tonight, depending on if EC3 decides to accept that challenge. And of course, we will also hear from Bryan Danielson, and we will also find out the results of the Feast or Fire briefcases. They will be revealed tonight. Who will be fired from TNA? We open up Impact with my mouse giving me problems. We open up Impact with Bryan Danielson coming down to the ring. That's right, Bryan Danielson is opening up the show tonight. He's coming down to the ring, the crowd cheering like crazy. Danielson lets the cheers go on for a few moments before thanking everyone. He says he could go on and on about being thankful, but he's going to cut to the chase. You see, many months ago, this business, this thing that he loves to do more than life itself. He loves this business more than anything in the world. He lives for professional wrestling, and many months ago he suffered an injury. It's not his first injury in this business, and it certainly won't be his last injury, but he suffered an injury. It was a pretty devastating injury. He did have to temporarily retire. However, he fought back. He fought back to get to a status where he could compete in the ring once again. And he went and he got himself cleared by many medical professionals outside of the business. But then, when he tried to get himself cleared to wrestle again, the company he was working for wouldn't let it happen. They wouldn't clear him. They wouldn't let him get back in the ring. And so naturally, he was devastated. But then he decided, you know what? My contract's coming up. If these guys won't let me wrestle, I'll go somewhere else. So he decided to leave the aforementioned, or the previously employed company that he was with, and he went to go find somewhere else to go. He went to go find somewhere else where he could wrestle, where he could do the best professional wrestling he could. And he looked at one company and one company alone, and that was Total Nonstop Action. He looked at the roster. He looked at the talent that were here. He saw former friends and former enemies, and he saw people he's never been in the ring with before. He saw guys like AJ Styles, like Chris Sabin, like Christopher Daniels, who hasn't seen since ROH. He saw other guys here like Magnus, like Bobby Roode, like many others here who he's never competed in the ring with. So he knew he had to come here to TNA to truly see what this company was all about. And so now he's here and he's ready to prove himself to a whole new group of people, a whole new universe, as it will be. He tries to continue talking at this point, but he gets interrupted by Magnus. Magnus, the individual who lost the TNA World Heavyweight Championship matchup at Final Resolution. Magnus comes down to the ring, Magnus slowly makes his way down to the ring. He says that he lost to Johnny Impact at Final Resolution. He has no excuses for that one. Now, granted, it was a fluke. Johnny Impact, 9 times out of 10, Johnny Impact cannot defeat Magnus, even though Magnus has lost twice to Johnny Impact now. But 9 times out of 10, he cannot defeat the king of TNA, the real king of professional wrestling. But Johnny Impact did prove that he was a better man on that night. But that does not mean that he's done chasing the championship. He's not done chasing to get back what is his. And he doesn't care whether Bryan Danielson gets in his way or not. He's not done chasing the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, which at its mention this time brings out the current holder of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, Johnny Impact. Johnny Impact makes his way to the ring and he says that if 9 times out of 10 Magnus can beat Johnny Impact, then what's happened the last 2 times that they've met in the ring? Kind of pointing out what I just pointed out a little bit ago. Johnny Impact says that he won fair and square at Final Resolution, but he didn't exactly like the post-match jump, the attack by Team Dixie. He doesn't exactly like the fact that he got beaten down by Team Dixie, so he's ready to take on Team Dixie. And then he looks over at Danielson and he says, I appreciate you helping me out. In that place that we were both in before, we had a modicum of respect for each other. I appreciate you helping me out. But we're not friends. We're not buddies. We're not allies. I don't know why you came to my rescue at Final Resolution. I don't know why you came to the rescue of myself and Magnus. I don't know. But just so you know, it does not matter if I supposedly owe you for that or anything along those lines. I'm the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, and you're not going to take it from me. Danielson goes to say something else when he gets interrupted by Team Dixie coming out. Bobby Roode has the mic, and he says that he is tired of watching this company waste its time on these 3 losers in the ring. He says that Johnny Impact is only the TNA World Heavyweight Champion because Bobby Roode hasn't had his opportunity yet. To which Johnny Impact replies, well, I won the Bound for Glory series that you were involved in. How come you couldn't win that? Roode kind of shakes that off a little bit and says, it does not matter. Magnus claims that he's still chasing the championship, but Magnus, you are not worthy of the championship anymore. Now is the era of Bobby Roode, and I will be the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And Bryan Danielson, nobody cares about your little pathetic story because I'm here right now to welcome you to Total Nonstop Action. And I'm going to welcome you to the fact that you will not be better than me. Danielson says, I'm not going to be better than you. Fine. You want to claim that, that's fine. But everybody knows that words are just words and actions are what really proves anything. So how about next week on Impact? One of you 3 or any of you 3 get together and take on Magnus, Johnny Impact, and myself, Bryan Danielson. The crowd's going crazy because if this is accepted, it could potentially be Danielson's in-ring debut in TNA. Bobby Roode looks around, looks a bit frustrated, then smirks a little bit and says, we accept, before they leave backstage. The crowd's going crazy as Impact and Danielson look cautiously at each other while Magnus quickly leaves the ring, not wanting to be associated with these two, frustrated about the fact that that challenge was just issued there. And so there you go. Next week on Impact, it is going to be 3 members of Team Dixie taking on Magnus, Johnny Impact, and the official in-ring debut of Bryan Danielson. So that should be a really great match there. 72 rating for this segment. Good stuff there. After that, we go backstage where AJ Styles is being interviewed by Jeremy Borash, and he talks about how Chris Sabin's continued to look good the last few months. He can admit that. And if Chris Sabin continues to look good on this, or continues on this path, maybe he can get himself into championship contention once again. But AJ Styles is Mr. TNA. When people talk about TNA, they talk about AJ Styles. And when people take a look at the greatest moments in TNA history, every single one has AJ Styles involved in it. Chris Sabin can be a significant part of TNA history, but like AJ will prove tonight against his tag team partner Alex Shelley, AJ Styles will always be Mr. TNA. 67 rating for the segment. Got brought down a little bit because of Jeremy Borash, but I gotta keep building them up somehow. 9,033 people, by the way, in attendance in the Roanoke Civic Center Arena. After that, we go to the ring where we get a 70 rated matchup with Samoa Joe defeating Johnny Gargano in 632 by submission with a Coquina Clutch. 79 from Joe, 55 from Gargano. Essentially, this was just, hey, Joe's just, I didn't really necessarily want to have Gargano be squashed like this, but it really is Gargano being fed to Samoa Joe. Of course, Black Friday management kind of had a little bit of a rocky night at Final Resolution. Christopher Daniels defeated Kazarian, but Homicide and Low-Key could not get the job done against the tag team champions, the American Wolves. So Joe's just out here just causing punishment while Christopher Daniels was at the commentary desk just running his mouth about how Black Friday management will not matter that they lost at Final Resolution. They will stand tall once again in the future, kind of thing. So basic little thing there as Joe gets an easy victory. Then after that, after we go to commercial break, we come back. We have the Knockouts champion in non-title action as Gail Kim defeats Kimberly in 652 when Kimberly gets disqualified after ODB ran in and attacked Gail Kim. 61 rating for the match itself. ODB running and attacking Gail Kim. Of course, ODB won against Madison Rayne at Final Resolution, which granted her a future shot at the Knockouts Championship. And Gail Kim, of course, being able to retain the Knockouts Championship against Mickie James at that pay-per-view as well. So ODB kind of attacking Gail Kim here, making sure that Gail Kim knows that ODB is hot on the trail for the TNA Knockouts Championship. After the match, the beating continues. ODB continues beating down Gail Kim until Madison Rayne comes running down to make the save. Madison Rayne and Gail Kim show a little bit of respect for each other as ODB motions for the championship while she heads towards the back. So basic little thing there showing that ODB, the number one contender, is going to be using her fists essentially to make her mark in the eventual title shot against Gail Kim. We'll have to see if Gail Kim can get the advantage back or if ODB will have all the momentum heading into that future matchup, which we're not sure when it's going to happen exactly. In the game-wise, Genesis happens in a few weeks' time. I don't necessarily know if the ODB Gail Kim match will be happening at Genesis because I have a few plans in mind. So we'll kind of see how that plays out. But so far, the only match we know for Genesis is Bobby Roode challenging Johnny Impact for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. After that, we go backstage where Kimberly is seen walking backstage disappointed by the blown opportunity she just had where she was trying to prove herself against the Knockouts champion and couldn't get the job done. When Velvet Sky and Brooke Tessmacher, the beautiful people, appear, Sky says that she noticed some potential in Kimberly out there just now. The beautiful people are always looking for interns, and that maybe Kimberly should consider interning for them. Brooke Tessmacher provides a business card, and the two walk away, leaving Kimberly to consider the opportunity. So, beautiful people reaching out, trying to expand their rankings or their roster, so to speak, and maybe they're gonna be able to recruit Kimberly. We're gonna have to see, but Kimberly kind of left with a decision as to whether she wants to join the beautiful people or not. After that, we go back to the ring where the new TNA X Division champion Paul London comes out to the ring with Maria. Maria thanks everyone for the support they've had for Paul London since he won the championship about a week and a half ago. Before she can really continue, though, DJZ comes out and actually shakes Paul London's hand, which actually kind of has this happen. You might have seen it a little bit, but we're officially kind of turning DJZ, officially turning him babyface with this. Adequate rating for his future gimmick. Complete success for the turn, which is good there. So DJZ's kind of officially become a face. He's kind of he's slowly been turning face over the last few months, especially as the X Division champion, kind of defending against anybody and everybody. And then, the storyline here with Paul London and Shelton Benjamin, he's been kind of slowly turning face. And so this is kind of his full turn at this point, kind of actually shaking hands with Paul London, kind of showing him respect. Z says that he has quite a bit of respect for Paul London, and that if anybody was going to end his championship reign, he's glad it was London. However, he would like to ask him for a championship rematch. Before either Paul London or Maria can reply, Shelton Benjamin comes out, still holding the Feast or Fire briefcase. Of course, he was one of the 4 people to win a briefcase at Final Resolution. He says that later tonight he finds out the opportunity he has in this, raising up the briefcase, but no matter which championship it's for, he's not done with these 2 men. He says that if there's going to be a rematch in the championship match in the near future, he wants to be a part of that match, regardless of whether he has the briefcase or not. Then some back and forth kind of ends up happening, leading it to a matchup up next between Shelton Benjamin and DJZ. The segment got a 63 rating. The match itself gets a 71. Pretty good rating there, as Shelton Benjamin defeats DJZ in 11-20 by pinfall, illegally using the ropes for leverage. 71 rating. 58 from Shelton Benjamin, who's really off his game, which really sucks, but DJZ with a 64 rating. So Shelton Benjamin may be kind of putting his mark out there, kind of saying, hey, I just pinned the former X Division champion. I deserve to be in that match too, so we'll have to see if anything like that ends up happening between those 3 men in the near future. After that, we go backstage where Team Dixie are there, and EC3 is unsure about the match with Kurt Angle tonight, kind of confirming in that he actually is going to be having that match with Kurt Angle tonight. Dixie tells him that he needs to get himself together and prove himself to the wrestling world here tonight. She tells him that he will win tonight, even if he has to do so by methods considered by the masses to be cheap and heelish, so to speak. Well, she doesn't say heelish, but methods that would make you seem like a bad guy. She says all that matters at the end of the day is that the record books show who won and who lost. So EC3 will get it done tonight and get the victory in the record books. And then in a few weeks at Genesis, Bobby Roode will get it done, and Team Dixie will get back on track to being on top of the TNA mountain. EC3, with this little bit of a pep speech, seems to have found his confidence again and leaves with Rockstar Spud in tow, ready for the matchup up next. 66 rating for the segment here. Good stuff there. Dixie's struggling, but to be fair, I've got to build up Dixie a little bit because, yeah. Anyway, after that, we have the matchup, and in a 83 rated matchup, my God, 83 rated matchup. In a match where Rockstar Spud accidentally hit EC3, Kurt Angle gets the submission victory via an ankle lock in 10:42, getting EC3 to tap out. 83 rating for the segment, for the match at this. 79 from Kurt Angle and a 72 from EC3. My God, is he starting to get over big time when it comes to in-ring performances. Yeah, Kurt Angle, despite Rockstar Spud's attempt to get involved in the matchup, Kurt Angle was able to get the clean submission victory over EC3. And we'll have to see where things go from there. Kurt Angle celebrating after the match. But not really much that continues the story afterwards, so we're going to have to see what happens in the future between these 2 men. After that, we go to a commercial break. We come back and we have a non-title tag team matchup happening as the American Wolves defeat Stenerico in 11:15 when Eddie Edwards pinned Kevin Steen with a Boston knee party. 70 rating for the match. 80 from Richards, 79 from Edwards, 59 from Steen, 53 from Generico. A very strong showing for Stenerico in this matchup, but the tag team champions just too much for them as they get a clean victory here tonight. Not really much of a story behind this, just simply, Stenerico trying to prove themselves against the champions, and the champions proving themselves to, as to why they are the champions. Then after that, we have EC3. We have Eric Bischoff coming out to the ring with the Feast or Fired briefcase holders with him. He then kind of talks up the fact that these 4 men, Shelton Benjamin, Alex Shelley, Jimmy Jacobs, and Brian Kendrick, are the holders of the Feast or Fire briefcases, and that one of these men very well could be fired here with these briefcase reveals. He asks for a volunteer, and all of them are kind of a little bit nervous, but Jimmy Jacobs actually kind of steps up. He says, you know what? Let's get it over with. If I'm the one who gets fired, then I'm the one who gets fired. I will be first up. I will grant myself the opportunity first off the bat. Jimmy Jacobs opens up his briefcase and finds out that he has received a tag team title shot sometime in 2015. He has a shot at the TNA World Tag Team titles. He's really happy about this, despite the fact that he doesn't really have any partners, but he's really happy about the fact that he has this tag team title match in the sometime this year. Shelton Benjamin, after this, gets super cocky and says, "You know what? I'm feeling confident right now. I can guarantee you that I have an X Division Championship match in this briefcase, so let's go. Let's reveal it right here, right now. Let's go." After a little bit of a build-up, they open up his briefcase, and he does not have an X Division Championship matchup, but he does have something better, because Shelton Benjamin has a shot at the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship sometime between now and the end of the year. Benjamin is pretty happy about this. I'm really happy about this, honestly. And so that leaves us with Alex Shelley and Brian Kendrick. One of these two men have an X Division Championship matchup. The other is fired. Bischoff has both men set their briefcases down. The briefcases are then unlocked, but not opened yet. You know, we got to have the dramatic build-up. And then both briefcases get revealed at the same time. And in a surprise reveal, nobody is fired. Nobody is fired from the Feast or Fire briefcases, as Alex Shelley's briefcase has an X Division Championship matchup. So Alex Shelley gets a challenge for the TNA X Division Championship at some point in the near future, and Brian Kendrick also has a TNA World Tag Team title matchup. When Kendrick kind of looks confused about this, and so does Jimmy Jacobs, Eric Bischoff reveals that was the swerve all along. That was the surprise all along, is that there was never going to be anybody fired out of the Feast or Fired briefcases this year. Nobody was ever going to actually have to deal with the or fired part. Instead, in a surprise twist, the two individuals who have the tag team title match then get the tag team title opportunity at some point this year, whenever they decide to cash in. Meaning that Jimmy Jacobs and Brian Kendrick would have to work together to cash in the World Tag Team title shot at some point here in 2015. So despite the fact that both men are kind of on opposite sides, Jimmy Jacobs is kind of a good guy and Brian Kendrick's kind of a bad guy, despite that fact, they're going to have to work together, because their guaranteed title match at some point in 2015 hinges on the fact that they have to be the ones who have to team up with each other to get that title opportunity. Otherwise, they don't get their title opportunity. So, surprise reveal for sure. So, Shelton Benjamin gets the shot at the TNA World's Heavyweight Championship at some point in 2015. Alex Shelley can cash in for an X Division Championship matchup. And Jimmy Jacobs and Brian Kendrick can cash in for a shot at the World Tag Team titles. So we'll have to see how that plays out as the year progresses. After that, we stay in the ring, really, as Alex Shelley stays in the ring because AJ Styles comes out for the matchup coming up next. And in a bout that had great wrestling and good heat, that is, AJ Styles defeats Alex Shelley in 11:59 by submission with a calf killer. 78 rating for the match. 86 from AJ Styles, 66 from Alex Shelley. AJ Styles, once again, stealing the show as he normally does. Getting the victory over Chris Sabin's tag team partner and proving, like he said earlier in the night, why he is Mr. TNA. Getting the job done against one half of the Motor City Machine Guns here. Chris Sabin was at ringside but did not get involved in the matchup. And Sabin didn't really, he had nothing to say. He didn't get on commentary. He kind of stood there. He just kind of stood there and watched this all happening. So, not sure where Chris Sabin, what Chris Sabin's mentality is at this point, but he was there watching as AJ Styles gets the submission victory over his tag team partner. After that, we go backstage where Team Kick are seen backstage talking to each other, When Cheerleader Melissa and Madison Eagles come up to him, Melissa calls them lucky for being able to retain the titles at Final Resolution thanks to that annoying little pest, Jessie McKay. Evie says that they didn't ask for the help and that maybe Eagles should treat her proteges better. Eagles kind of steps up to Evie as if, getting ready to fight with her, but gets distracted about the sight of Jessie McKay showing up. Jessie McKay appears kind of standing by Team Kick. McKay says that Evie has a point, but that if Melissa and Madison want to fight so badly, then next week, maybe they can find somebody to team up with them in a 6-woman tag team matchup. As Melissa and Eagles kind of stare at the 3 women in front of them, all of a sudden, Mischief just appears in the middle of Cheerleader Melissa and Madison Eagles and says that they accept. So next week on Impact, on top of the big 6-man tag team matchup, the Team Dixie taking on Magnus, Johnny Impact, and Bryan Danielson, we're also now going to have the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions in action as they will be teaming up with Jessie McKay to take on Cheerleader Melissa, Madison Eagles, and Mischief. So, should be an interesting matchup in the Knockouts division as well. Then after that, we get our main event of the evening. And about that had fantastic heat and good wrestling. Jeff Hardy defeats Austin Aries in 12:27 by pinfall with a Swanton Bomb. 79 rating for the matchup, 74 from Austin Aries, 66 from Jeff Hardy, who really is, his in-ring performances is definitely continued to stumble recently. But Jeff Hardy does get the victory in a back-and-forth matchup with a Swanton Bomb, and, looks good, really, gets the victory there. Like I said, 79 rating for the match itself. After the match, Jeff Hardy gets his hand raised by the referee, while Austin Aries has some frustration clearly on his face. Hardy offers a fist bump, his usual little, not full-on fist, but the little, knuckles out fist bump thing that he does. And Aries looks slightly annoyed before finally kind of briefly touching his fist to Jeff's. Aries then quickly leaves the ring and heads up the ramp as Jeff celebrates in the ring to end the show. The show itself gets a rating of 77. I'll take it. Some growth restrictions to be expected, but hey, I'll still take it. We still increased in 10 regions, so good stuff there. Yeah, pretty good show. Not a fantastic show, but it's still a pretty good show. Nevertheless, Impact is in the books. The first Impact 2015, that is in the books. And as soon as this gets done loading, I will show you guys what happened on Explosion, because if you remember right, from the Final Resolution episode, Explosion this week is the start of the World Cup. We had our matches happening in the World Cup that we had our matches happening and have some team points to kind of highlight. So we're going to go ahead and get to that, which, as you can see before you, we opened up with a match featuring Drew Gulak representing Team USA taking on and defeating Fergal Devitt representing Team Europe. So that got Team USA's men's team a point. Then in tag team action, we had Chelsea Green and Cherry Bomb representing Team Canada defeat Io Shirai and Kairi Hojo representing Team Japan, which got Team Canada's women's team 1 point. I'm gonna stumble over the team names for a little bit here. Then after that, in another tag team matchup, we had the Super Smash Brothers representing Team Canada defeating Jack Bonza and Jonah Rock representing Team Oceania. So Team Canada's men's team got a point as well. In a women's singles matchup, we had Heidi Lovelace defeat Demi Bennett. Heidi Lovelace, of course, representing Team USA, and Demi Bennett representing Team Oceania. So Team USA's women's team got a point. And then in the main event, Alex Kozlov, representing Team Europe, was able to defeat Kota Ibushi, representing Team Japan, to get a point there. So, where that leaves us after the first week is that on the men's side, we have 3 points being given out. Team USA with 1 point, Team Europe with 1 point, and Team Canada with 1 point. And then on the women's side, we have Team USA and Team Canada both with a point each. Europe, Japan, and Oceania with 0 points. So we will have to see how it plays out. Obviously, the first few weeks are going to be kind of slower, But once we get to that point, we will get to the point where we're going to have some interesting competitions happening with those going on. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. But thank you for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I know it was a little different, especially because I spent a good deal of time explaining the opening segment, but I felt like it was kind of worth it. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and we will catch you guys next time for another episode of TNA Wrestling.